Mike Irvin is accused of having friendly encounters with women. He filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit and said he did nothing wrong. He was booted from Super Bowl coverage, and he appeared to tear up briefly at the news conference, complaining that he hasn't been allowed to see the video. What do you think of that?
Okay, so I saw some of the video. Just to elaborate a little bit. We don't know exactly what happened. A woman did claim that she felt uncomfortable when Irvin was speaking to her, said that he was possibly drunk. There's some video out there that Irvin's been fighting to see because he wasn't able to see the video of the whole interaction. But yeah, so he claimed that he didn't do anything wrong. And now because, his name has been everywhere, he's filing a $100 million lawsuit. This is a real sticky situation just because it's one of those cases where it's like, I think having some interactions with people, like I said, I don't know what happened and what went down. You really just have to be and it's our duty as people just to be careful about what we say, what we're doing around people, because you never know how someone's gonna take it. If somebody comes up to me and says something, taps me on the shoulder, whatever, I'm probably not gonna trip because I don't care. But some people do. So it really depends on how that person takes it. But the thing about Irvin's case that's interesting is that he has went back and basically said that it reminds him of the civil rights era when, a woman would claim something about a black man to get him falsely accused of something that he didn't do. So now there's a whole bunch of different aspects in it. He's tearing up in press conferences. She's upset. He feels canceled. I don't know what you can do at that point. What do you think?
Well, do you know about Michael Irvin?
Yes.
Really?
A little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna give you, all right, I'm asking nothing bad. I'm just so this situation right here, I'm catching up to speed because I've seen a few things about it, but I kind of know Michael Irvin's history, so I didn't really indulge into it too much. So it says Michael Irvin basically touched the victim's arm during the conversation without consent, causing her to step back. She was visibly uncomfortable. Then, no, I'm not laughing.
That's crazy.
No, it says Michael Irvin then asked the victim if she knew anything about having a black man inside of her.
Wait, he said that?
This is allegations of what he supposedly said. And I'm not laughing at that, guys. I'm not. That shit is fucked up,
That's
Mike.
wild.
Yeah, it is. And then it says, he then attempted to grab her arm again and say, sorry. If I brought up any bad memories, I apologize.
I didn't know all of that.
That's wild.
Okay. The arm touching, I was like, oh, whatever.
Wild. No, that's wild.
No, saying that stuff is wild.
And that's the reason. And listen, listen, none of this shit. The reason I'm laughing and the reason I asked you guys, do you know about Michael Irvin? Because you guys are kind of young. Michael Irvin has a history of this shit. This is why when I seen this shit first pop up, I was like, I'm not even worried about if he's guilty or not. Even if he was guilty or not, he has a legacy of doing wild shit. Maybe not in his latter years as an analyst, but as a football player, wild as fuck. Wild nigga. Cocaine parties, prostitution, the list goes on and on. Look, I brought up some of this stuff. I'll just read the top. I won't even get into it. Personal life fabricated, sexual assault allegations against Irvin. 1998 Scissorgate, when he stabbed somebody with a pair of scissors. 2001, he's arrested on felony cocaine possession. 2007, sexual assault allegations. 2009, attempt carjacking attempt on him, or says alleged 2009. I'm assuming that he was almost carjacked, that he's not out there trying to carjack anybody. 2017, sexual assault investigation. And this is the latest with a whole bunch of other things that I'm just not reading. And he was such a good football player. Jerry Jones, who was a new owner at the time, actually had personal security following Michael Irvin so he wouldn't get in trouble when he played for the Cowboys. And I think he's a great football player. I think he has a laundry list of shit that follows him outside of football. How much is true and how much isn't true, I don't know, because he used to stay in the news for shit like this. But when I heard this happen, I was like, this is the Michael Irvin that I'm accustomed to seeing when I was growing up. As far as him, if this is true or not, I don't know. It's still saying allegations, it's still alleged. making any female feel how they don't want to feel or do anything they don't want to do is totally wrong and inappropriate. But it seems like he's been doing this for so long that he may not know the boundaries of what you can do and what you can't do in this era as opposed to in the early 90s.
Yeah, he's not thinking twice about it.
Right.
But it did come to the point where obviously they kicked him off air. He couldn't do Super Bowl coverage, which is probably now why he's, acting the way about it. Because I didn't know his history like that, but still so, he past his history, he was still able to have a platform to speak about sports, which is what he does. So that's why it's a little like, because even regardless of his past, he was still able to be up on TV.
No,
so
absolutely.
that's why it's like,
Look, I think my opinion is, I don't know how networks work or anything like that. I think that, and I'm not saying it was okay
right.
in the 80s or 90s or whenever. I think that a lot of things are being more scrutinized or magnified, a magnifying glass on certain situations as to where back in the days they didn't give a fuck or
right.
it really didn't matter. To now you can't do certain shit.
Yeah.
And look, Mike hasn't been in this type of situation in a long time. And from reading these allegations from me, and I'm not saying he wasn't wrong. From what I'm reading, he was wrong. You shouldn't touch anybody that doesn't want to be touched. But from all his previous crimes or alleged crimes, this wasn't no big deal. All I did was touch your arms.
Right.
It ain't like I motherfucking threw cocaine on you and sniffed it off you or punched you in your stomach or, that may be,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is his mentality, but maybe so because he's like, all I did was touch your arm and ask you if you had a black man in you, which is inappropriate. But compared to some of the charges that he had in the past, that's like elementary school.
And because, he is who he is why it's even out there in the first place. Because it was some random guy who did it.
And that's the reason I
it.
brought, and you're absolutely right, that's the reason I brought that up because what you were saying about him still being able to be on television, he's a great personality, he's great for television, and maybe the stuff that he did was okay back then, and networks are like, hey man, that was in the past, we'll give him another chance. But because of his past, that's why he was booted from Super Bowl weekend. That's why he couldn't come on television for, works for the NFL Network. That's why we haven't seen him on First Take since
right.
then. He's usually on Mondays on First Take, but until all this dies down, I don't think we're gonna see him on anything because of his past. I think if he didn't have the past that he used to have, that maybe they wouldn't look at this seriously, but they're gonna bring a history up when you're Michael Irvin.
Right. So I got a question. Do you think he's doing too much? Because he said other stuff about being accused, in civil rights era and stuff like that. Is he doing too much? Because he's answering all these questions in these interviews and crying and.
Think when you start fucking with niggas' money, it's never doing too much. You're gonna do whatever you gotta do because he's probably not getting paid from the NFL Network. He's probably not being, while all this is going on, you're being isolated.
Right.
And it's not a way for these people to make money. So, he has a $100 million lawsuit against the Marriott. I don't know what the Marriott did to him, but I'm reading this $100 million.
Said anybody.
Yes,
When he said
exactly.
anybody.
Yeah, when y'all start fucking with my money.
Right.
hey,
Pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, ABG, anybody could get it. So I think that's the situation with Michael Irvin right now.
Okay, awesome. We're going to take a short break and we will be right back.
She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. What's stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it.